getting canceled. Alrighty. Cool guys, so today we're going to talk about follow-up boss. I feel like we're going to train on this fairly often just because it's a tool that I think saying necessary is an understatement, but it's something that can hopefully double, triple, quadruple, quintuple your business if you use it properly. We're going to show you a couple of go-to tricks on how to make sure your time is incredibly well spent in follow-up boss, how to make sure that you know how to run your personal sphere of influence inside of follow-up boss, how to make sure that you're actively following up with those people, et cetera, et cetera. So the first thing we're going to go over is kind of some rules and regulations around follow-up boss leads. What I mean by that are leads that are dropped to you on your follow-up boss days. So for those of you who have been on the team for a little while, please do not answer the following questions. The first question that I have for you guys is, when a lead comes in on your follow-up boss day, what are the rules surrounding that lead on the day? They're in the new leads category. What are your obligations? Connor, start us off.
You have to give them 2 calls.
3 calls. Three calls throughout the day. 1 in the morning, well, if they're there in the morning.
I thought it was like two calls break, then 2 calls, unless they answer.
I see what you're saying. You're saying 2 consecutive calls
when
you do the calls.
Yeah,
absolutely. So the easy way to look at it is, well, I'm expecting you to call these leads 3 times. Each one attempt that you make, you should double call. Because they might have their phone on Do Not Disturb. They also may have forgot that their phone's on Do Not Disturb. Plus, if you're anything like me, you look at your phone, you say, I don't know this number, click, go on answer that. If that unknown number that I see that's the number, but if it calls me again, I'm like, oh, maybe it's something important. And I'll slide and I'll answer it, for sure. So 3 times, twice each. What else?
That's proven by Jeff Cohen too, no?
Absolutely, 100% proven. Yeah, you got it. What else?
Like your obligation once they answer?
No, not necessarily. What are your other obligations regarding follow-up for the new leads?
To categorize them?
Once you speak to them, absolutely, absolutely.
So this is...
But let's say they don't answer. Let's say you call them now throughout 3 times, now what?
Leave them a voicemail.
That's right, on the 3rd call. Absolutely, you leave them a voicemail. What else? One missing piece to the puzzle.
You'll also send them the text at the end of the follow-up to let them know why you were calling them if they don't listen.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now let's say they still haven't answered, you've done everything that you had on that day, where's the lead go?
Okay.
Nope.
No, it goes in the less, not, I think it's nurture.
It's not nurture, because nurture means you spoke to them and they're looking to buy within 3 to 6 months.
Watch.
Nope. You've spoken to them and they want to buy within 6 to 12. This hypothetical situation revolves around the lead that you have not yet spoken to.
You just read them in the lead.
Nope.
It's in the word. Like, read it's in the word, literally.
There you go. So the qualified campaign is pretty straightforward. It's just a series of emails over a week. So I think it's between 8 and 10 days, and they're going to get between 7 and 8 emails in that amount of time. During the qualified period, which is, like I said, about a week, we expect you to call them every day during that time. So every single day, you give them another shout and say, hey, you know, whatever. You're kind of even hoping to get their voicemail every single day if they're in qualified, because then you can reach out to them and say, hey, listen, I'm so sorry, I've been playing telephone tag with you. They've never tagged you back. But you're just like assuming the responsibility for everything, right? You're just like, hey, listen, I'm sorry I haven't been able to reach you. Like, it's your fault that they're not picking up their phone. But that's okay. And so you just call them every day, and eventually they're going to pick up. That's just what happens. Now, if they go through the entire qualified campaign, they've got 7 emails for between 5 and 7 emails from you. They've received an additional 7 calls on top of the 3 that they got on the first day. Then what do? You haven't talked to them. Now what do you do with it?
Now they're just like...
That's right. Absolutely. If they've gone through that and they've received 10 phone calls and probably 3 or 4 text messages and a few voicemails and they're still not responding to you, you just toss them in the archive and forget about it. They might pop from like little campaigns that we have going on later on, but for now, that's great. So questions on new leads? Everyone's clear on that? Awesome.
What about archive just spoken to and not spoken to? Contacted, like there's archives that you have contacted.
Yes.
How do you? It's just just one communication with them, or like a
I would say it has to be a real estate conversation. I don't think it's I don't think it would count as a contacted or spoken to. Exactly. Yeah, that wouldn't be a contact to me. So yeah, great. So I'm glad that we went over this because there was a little bit of confusion into what to do with those new leads. So that's great. Now let's say you do speak to them. We already kind of gave away this answer. So if you speak to them, they're looking to buy between 3 and 6 months. They go into
Nurture.
nurture. Exactly. Yeah. 3 to 6 months. 6 to 12 is. 6 to 12.
Is watch.
There you go. Absolutely. Yeah. So 6 to 12 is watch, which is great. And now so going into that section in the nurture section, what is the expectation for follow up for a lead in nurture? And what I'm asking you is how often are you going to call them?
For nurture?
Yeah.
2 times a week.
Nope. I mean, that'd be great if you want to. If you want to do that, that's awesome. But I don't think that's necessary.
Once every 2 weeks?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So a nurture lead, the expectation is that you're going to call them every 2 weeks. They'll just basically check in on them. Okay? What about a watch lead? Keep in mind, this lead is not ready to buy. They said that they might look into the process in like a year or 10 months or whatever. So you put them in a watch. What is the expectation for follow-up? How often are you going to call this person? Absolutely, once a month. And once again, these are the types of calls where you're actually really hoping to get their voicemail. Because you know that the call might be unnecessarily long. You know that they're not ready yet because they told you that they're going to wait, a certain amount of time before even considering it. So you're just hoping to get their voicemail and you say, hey, it's me, I was thinking about you. Just want to make sure we're still on track. If you wanted me to start sending you properties or whatever you want. You just call them and check in. And you don't necessarily need them to be super engaged on that call. You just want to check in on them so that they remember who you are, what you do, and so that if they ever have conversations or have any thoughts about real estate, they know to think about you right away. So those are the rules around the leads. I thought I'd go over that before I get into the actual how to use the system part of the training. But yeah, that's awesome. Now, one of the things that's really cool is a new thing that we implemented right now. I just want to show you guys because I think it's really awesome. So check this out. There's an automation section in Follow-Up Boss. So what this does is it creates kind of rules. So we've got something set up that when you put somebody in nurture, it automatically starts the nurture campaign. We used to have it where you had to do both manually, and it was just a big mess. So same thing with qualify, same thing with watch, which is great. But the coolest thing, far and away the coolest thing, is archive comes back. Archive comes back, goes to lead. So what this meant, look how many times it's been run. 338 times. So that's just incredible. Let's take a little bit of a closer look on that so you guys see what this is all about. So if this lead does a new property inquiry on the website, or viewed a new property on the website, or saved a property, does any of those things, and is in a stage called archive, the action plan start archive comes back, goes to lead. So now that action plan will then move their stage to lead, and it'll come right back into your new lead category. And you're like, oh, what's this guy? And you'll see the history and the timeline of the lead. You're like, oh shit, this is one of the guys that came back. That's awesome. So now, in theory, you're not going to have leads slip through the cracks.
I should know who to send it back to, because sometimes.
Oh, we'll never change the agent. The assigned agent, it will stay with that agent forever. So if this person, let's call him Hugh Jackman, he's in archive because he said he's not looking for a new mansion in Beverly Hills right now. But then all of a sudden he does, click on one of the properties on our website. Even though so if he's assigned to you, he will stay assigned to you. You understand what I mean?
I do. It's only because, for example, sometimes you might have the lead and then you forward it to me.
Oh, but it would be attached to you at that point.
So it's who you attach, the last person who it's attached to?
Yep.
The person
The most recent attachment. Absolutely.
Opposed to archive.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's just the most recent.
You know what I mean, though? Because sometimes there's different names. Different names on the site.
Yeah. So what happens is sometimes, let's say if I had a lead and it accidentally went into my account and I sent it over to you because it's your boss day. I'm not adding you as a collaborator. It's not like we both have the lead. It's no longer my lead, it goes to you. But the system's pretty cool. It keeps my name in the tag.
Okay.
So that we can know who sent it to you.
Understood.
But it'll always be your lead as soon as that transfer has been done, which is pretty darn cool. So yeah, that's the first thing I wanted to show you guys. I apologize for people at home who are not going to see this. I tried to make the TV as visible as possible, but you know, when we get into like the nitty gritty of some stuff, I might do a screen share on it. But a lot of this is pretty conceptual as well. So on a scale of 1 to 10, guys, how well do you think you understand Follow Up Boss as a system? Sarah, give me a number. 8. 8, not bad. 5?
5.
5, cool. Madison?
6.
6, 5, yeah.
I'm gonna say 3.
3,
Connor
fair
is
enough.
like 5.
Fair enough. Delano?
8.
8, cool. Benji?
10.
10, okay, tough guy.
Alright.
John?
Yeah, I would say about 7.
7, damn, okay.
I'll change mine to 7 as well.
Modest mouse over here.
There's a lot of stuff to know.
There is a lot. One of the things that I really like, about Follow Up Us is I swear every single month I get an email from the developers of Follow Up Us saying, hey, look at all these new features we've rolled out. And it's like, it's legitimately hard to stay on top of. They're always adding new stuff, which is really cool. What that means for you guys is, you know, if you guys think of something and say, you know what would be really cool if Follow Up Us did this? First of all, they probably already do it. It just might not be something that we've set up. Example being, Benji came to me the other day, he's like, hey man, is it possible to have something like this? And I think he had like 3 different questions, and only one of them I said, no, that's not possible. The other 2, we were like, yeah, we got this. And we'll go over a couple of things that we uncovered during that time. But the number one thing that I think is underutilized, and I've done this before, but nobody seems to really implement it, is I call it the now wall. So these are leads that are actively engaging somehow. Whether they're engaging on the website, whether they're engaging by responding to emails or whatever, they are engaged and actively thinking about real estate. So what's happening is, you see the logo here. You see the Follow Up Boss logo up here, where my cursor is? That's what you have to click to get to the page I'm at right now. So you have that, and then boom, you get greeted with this, which is pretty darn cool. And what happens is, you get to see the last activity. You get to see when that activity happened, what stage that person is in, and you know, in this case, I'm looking at everybody. But we can actually go into, let's pick Severo, because I think he's got a nice account. Oops, not last 30 days. There you go. Scroll down to Severo. And then let's do filter activity. Let's say we just want either email or, actually no, do we want everything? Yeah, no, we don't want registration though, because that'll just be a new lead and that's fine. So there you go. So check this out. Look at all these bloody email opens that he has. And most of them are archived, but these guys are opening the email.
So get responses from them. That Radwood lady though, she
Yeah.
just got she just broke up her engagement, so she's not looking to purchase.
Very sad. Very sad. But this is really cool because if you're ever wondering, if you're ever in a position where it's like, okay, you know, I could call expireds or for sale by owners or something like that, but you know, I don't want to be in a position where I'm putting my focus here and something over here is going to fall by the wayside, right? Is to make sure that you're really on top of your follow-up, so you can take a quick look at the now wall and see what you should be doing. Because if anybody's going to be doing what these leads are doing, like this person here opened an email from Qualify 4 hours ago, right? So I'm going to click this Maggie girl and see what's going on. So this is an email saying, hey Maggie, I'm just following up your request of blah, blah, blah. You can view the action plan if you want. So he called, he did the 3 calls, which is great. Put her in Qualify, but didn't start the calls after Qualify. Now, because we know that this person opened this email, right? One open right here. We know that they know who we are now. There's no more ambiguity. So now if Severo calls and leaves a message, she's going to know what this is about. She's going to know that Severo is calling about real estate, about the thing that I signed up for online, which is either information on a property on one of our websites or a list of foreclosures or whatever it is, whatever advertisement that they clicked on, right? But this is some incredibly powerful stuff. So it's a good segue into the detailed sheet of a lead. So how well do you guys understand this? Where do you want me to put the focus on this page? There's some really important places if you just want me to start rolling, but if there's somewhere specific you want me to focus on, let me know. No? Yes, just do the whole thing? All right, just do the whole thing. Okay, so one of the cool things that they added recently was relationships. This was always, it's funny enough, this was always something that my dad looked for in CRM. He didn't want to have individual people in a system when they were husband and wife, or partners or whatever. He just wanted them to be able to be in the same group. So now they rolled that out for here, which is pretty cool. So you can add a relationship and merge an existing person. How cool is that? So let's say you've got, I've got John in my database and I've got John's girlfriend in my database. I'm going to merge them and I'm going to add her still as a separate person, but I'm going to merge her or merge him into that contact so that if I'm reaching out to them, I can reach out to them both simultaneously, which is pretty darn cool. So this is all ways of keeping very, very organized, right? So then obviously you guys know about this stage. This is just where it's at in the sales funnel, right? Starts as a lead, goes into nurture, watch, whatever it is, eventually becomes hot, then the visits start, then an offer is written and it's closed. That's the end of the funnel. You guys pretty clear on that? It's pretty self-explanatory. And then of course you've got, if you want to, I love putting price here of what they're looking for, and I'll tell you why. This is like an absolute pro tip. Let's say you're at a listing presentation. It's not a buyer, it's a listing presentation, okay? And it's in pure form, as an example. And the property is worth $500,000 or $700,000. It's so powerful to be able to open up the laptop and say, look, type in pure form as a tag and put in a price of $600,000 or $700,000 and watch all the leads show up. Because then you can be like, look, I've got 3,000 people in my database that'd be interested in your house. How many of them would actually show up? Maybe 10. But that's 10 more than what you get with any other agent. It's very, very powerful. Very powerful. We call it reverse prospecting. Yeah.
Can you show us how to do that?
Yeah, of course. So it requires tags as well. So I've seen people use the price feature in tags as well, and it's not necessarily wrong. I don't mind that as well, But so here, let's add the tags. So look, it doesn't really matter, to be honest. So
can you? I think more people are doing it in the price. Could you, unless I'm mistaken?
I don't think anybody's doing the price.
I do.
Do you actually?
When I do the.
And how do you type it? Do you type it as a range, like 200 to 300, or do you type it as just like
their max?
their max? Okay, perfect. Yeah, perfect. So let's see if we have a pure phone tag here that we can use. Pure phone.
So you
Pure
add
phone
the
Roxborough.
price and then you tag the area.
So I'm adding tags just like that, okay? And then what I can do is I can go to people, and then I can do a search, right? So I'm gonna go all people, okay? I'm gonna do a filter. Add a filter, tag.
Where's the person?
I'm right here on the right,
Oh,
okay? And so include, and I'm gonna look for pure. And I'm going to press the little plus sign of, oops. And I want pure from Roxborough as well. So now, obviously, there's 32 people. So that means we're underutilizing the tags. That's all that means. So there's 32 people out of the 21,273 that have actively raised their hand and said, I want to buy in pure form. Now, is it more than 32? Guaranteed, it's probably closer to 3,000. But it's just that we're not putting in the tags what it is that they're looking for. So it would be limited value in this way. So very, very important to use the tags. I think that's really cool. Let's grab this. So back to this kind of stuff. Look at that, tags worked really well here. Check this out. So 3-bedroom, 6 to 12 months. That's kind of silly, but whatever. So 3 bedrooms, I think that's great. Pure phone, I think that's awesome. Using the tags is really important because you'll be able to sort through your leads much, much, much more easily. Now, of course, you've got all of this stuff here. So is there any feature here that you guys are not using? So you guys are calling from the system, I hope. Yeah, you guys are calling from the system. That's like the #1 thing that's so, so important. Now, creating notes, you guys know how to do that. You're sending emails and you're texting from the system as well, right? So pro tip, just so you guys know, when I started using Follow Up Boss, one of the things that occurred to me is that I didn't want to, message this person from the system and then text them from my phone. So I'm always very upfront with them. When I text them, I say, I'm texting you from my office line. So that when I do message them eventually, when they become a hot lead, when I message them from my phone, I can say, this is my personal line. Just like, makes stuff a little easier, right? So, and then everything should be documented by this. So you can see that in 2017, this Elena person was added by me, and then notes were made by me in 2017, and then in 2017 I assigned it to John. And then John in 2017 gave her a call, and she said she's not moving for a few years. Well, it's been a few years. I'd probably call it. So that's the thing with archive, is that they're going to get emails for a little while, but this person doesn't have an archive drip campaign happening, so we're going to add it. So this is how you add it when you see somebody. And she was contacted, so there you go. Oh, she's not a buyer, though. That's okay.
Is there one that if you haven't contacted them? No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
It's just regular archive with nothing written on it, right?
What's that?
It's just regular archive with nothing written to it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's online buyer contacted or just online buyer, which is fine. So that's how you add an action plan. Now let's say you guys, I know Severo and Benji do a lot of work together in terms of dropping mail outs and working together with some leads. So this is really important for them, is that they should be using the collaborator function so that both of them can see the lead. Because the only issue is, let's say there's a lead, his name's Bob, and I've been working with him, and John's also been working with him. We've been doing it together. But he's in my lead category, he's in my hot category or something. John can't see that. He'd have to go into my account, go into my hot section, and then go into the guy and then start, messing around with it. So if you use collaborators, it'll be significantly easier, because then if the guy's in hot, he's going to show up in both of our hot categories simultaneously, which makes it so much easier, which is cool. So the one thing that we do not use when it comes to Follow Up Boss as a system is the deals section, because I feel like if we were to use the deals section, we'd have to use it almost like a dot loop type of thing, where it's, it walks us through the entire step procedure of doing the deals, and we just don't do that. Alex handles all of that for us, so we don't need to do that. So the only section that I actively, don't care if you guys use or do use is the deals and files, because the files and the deals kind of go hand in hand, because eventually those would get sent to the notary or whatever. So we don't need to do any of that. We have a Google Drive for that reason, and we have Alex for that reason as well. So moving on to the next one, appointments. So this is cool, because when you signed up for Follow Up Boss, it's synced to your calendar, right? And you can set up where when you put an appointment here, it's going to email them, which is really freaking cool. It saves you a lot of time. So let's say you're on the phone with a lead and you say, hey, listen, I'd love to meet you. Come on down to the office. We'll have a nice cup of coffee and we'll show you what listings are available right now. If you don't like any of them, no worries. We'll wait on it. Okay? So you book that appointment and it's booked for next week. So you book the appointment, but you can click this thing right now and set it up. So boom, appointment. So title, description, what the type is. Don't put an outcome because there's no outcome yet. You put that at the end, right? After the thing happens. You can put the location, just so you put the full address of either the first, let's say you're booking a tour, you put the address of the first property you're going to see. Okay, if you're booking a consultation here, you put the address of the building here, which is 15F. Okay, now you get the option to see who gets the invite, which is pretty darn cool. And then you don't have to fuss about like sending her an invite afterwards or sending an email being like, hey, let me know if you're still coming on this day or whatever. You don't have to do any of that stuff. It's all done for you, which is really cool. And it also provides us with really good insights in terms of how many appointments you're booking on a weekly basis without having to, just take your guys' word for it. So the appointments section is really cool just because it makes your life easier. Yeah?
Can we plug in Mojo contact information and set this up to remind them of our meetings?
And what? Where?
Set this up to kind of warn them about our meetings. Sometimes you can call them ahead of time, like, we're still good for the appointment on Tuesday, and they cancel it, this and that. I don't always like to call them because it gives them out. But just send them an email, quick reminder that we have an appointment on Friday.
You have to add the person from Mojo.
That's what I'm saying. So you put all the contact details.
Yeah, and then you have all the options here. Yeah,
And
you
then
can
you
do
just.
Yeah, so you can just set the appointment up through here, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
And if they pan out or not, we're just creating a Mojo section, or we just like.
Yeah, there's a Mojo
where do they fall into after you get them?
There's an entire Mojo section, but I think somebody like that, who you've booked an appointment with on Mojo, especially if it's just a neighborhood call, that person deserves to be in your sphere. That's my personal belief on that. There is a Mojo section here if you want to use it, But I think if somebody had a nice conversation with you over the phone and agreed to meet with you in person, that person is somebody that I think would be worth following up as like maybe a C-class sphere lead. So then, this is easily the most important section, is what I'm going to go over right now. I've never seen a section that has delineated the difference between a successful agent in follow-up boss versus a below average successful agent inside follow-up boss, and that's the tasks section. It's so easy to look at follow-up boss or any CRM and just get overwhelmed. It's so easy, right? When you have tasks set up, you just go into your task section and say, what am I doing today? You might have 30 tasks. You might think that's a big deal, but you're going to blow through that in like an hour, right? But it's a way for you to stay organized so that you're not just like going into your section saying, okay, you know, oh God, look at all the nurture leads, oh my God. But you don't realize that you don't have to contact about half of these people right now. It's all good, you know? You go to your watch guy, oh my God, I've got 93 people in watch. You don't realize that half of them you already called, and the other half, you know, you have follow-up set for a later date, you know, for a specific reason, right? So it's very, very easy to get overwhelmed. Every single lead should have an upcoming task. Every single lead should have an upcoming task. This is obviously an exceptional situation since it's a very old lead and it's an import. But if you've got a situation where a new lead has come in and you've spoken to them, they're a nurture person, you know, put the follow-up for 2 weeks. Just give yourself that reminder so that it's easier for you. Because yeah, of course, you can go into the nurture section, sort by when your last call was, make sure it's less than 14 days. You can do that too. But I promise you, the one correlation I can draw between people who are very good at follow-up boss is the usage of the task section. So Jason last year did the most follow-up boss on the team, and he did that because he just beat the crap out of his task section. Okay? We've had, yeah, exactly. People in the past have been on the team and have just been dominant with these leads because they were just very diligent in creating the tasks and then accomplishing them on a daily basis. You know, and it makes your day a little more organized and easy when you do when you have your tasks set up and you just say, okay, what's my job today? You know what I mean? And you can have tasks for everything, even the shared leads, even the follow-up boss, the for sale value leads, the expired leads. All those leads we drop inside of follow-up boss, those tasks, you're going to see them. You know, you're going to see other people's tasks on the shared leads, but it doesn't stop you from creating them for yourself. You can still add those tasks for yourself so that you know to follow up if you've had a conversation with them or whatever the situation might be. So you've got so many different, check this out. So you can add a quick follow-up, which is great. This is so easy. It just makes it so easy for you. You know, let's say, you know, you need to call them back in a week. Click it. You would need a 2 week, no problem. 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. So easy. So just creating those tasks is just awesome. It's super easy. If you want a detailed task because you need to, you know, talk to them about something specific, you can put a full task name with a specific time and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, 9 times out of 10, I think you can use the lightning button and do it that way. Next thing, I'm just going to go into leads here. Let's go back to Severo. I don't want that. Select that. No. Hold on. Don't you have any leads? Frustrating.
What?
I'm just seeing what kind of leads you have. I can do it by a reverse search, but. Yep. Okay, hold on. Okay, I found everything. Source. it's not coming up. That's super annoying. So I'm just gonna have to find one, I guess. Weird. Filter? Oh, that's why. That's why. Okay, fair enough. Okay. It's not working. There we go. There we go. Okay. So then we have this wonderful section called activity. So truth be told, this is not a precise science. Okay. So it is designed to tell you what this lead did on our website. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Is it fun to see if it did work? Absolutely. It's pretty cool. So this person doesn't look like they looked at a specific property. They looked at this, which is just going to go to our homepage, and they looked at tips, and then they signed up. And the marketing source was Google. So that's pretty cool. So you know kind of where they came from, and we use in our action plans, we use where they came from. It's very, very important so that they know that, they're not just going to be 100% treated like just a number. So the first initial text message says, hey, you came across us on Google, or you stumbled on us on Facebook, or whatever. And we want to make sure we mention that, because then they go, oh, okay. They know that I came from this place. They're not just guessing, It provides a little bit of comfort for them, which is really cool. But
do we still have for the private listings, like the Google Chimp or what we're using?
MailChimp, yeah, absolutely we do. Yeah.
So is that going to show up on the bottom there
No.
as to where that's where they are responding to?
No.
Okay,
No.
just online Facebook stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. It's gonna show you if it's a lead that came from there, right? Because what we're looking at right now is
How do they respond to it?
it's how they signed up, to become a lead in the first place. So this person came from our website, right? If we go down here, let's pick somebody else. Let's see. Well, this one's a hot prospect. That should be interesting. Hot prospect. Anyway, so this person actually looked for Saint Constant and Chateauguay. You know that right away. Even if these links are not active anymore, because maybe they're sold listings by now, you know that this person was looking for a split level in Saint Constant and a bungalow in Chateauguay. So Benji's all over this. I don't know why this is in Montreal's Elite Real Estate Group. If you've spoken to her, dude, you should grab that lead.
Isn't it one of those, what category is it in?
It's not in any, it's a hot prospect.
So not in a rush to buy, that's something
Sent, and it was originally Jerry's lead from back in the day. Look, March 10th last year, sent 11 listings in Saint Constant and Chateauguay.
I know why I didn't think that. But I usually move over, but a lot of times I don't move over.
Why, you don't think it was a good lead, is that why?
No, because if you listen to the conversation, she's renting from her in-laws and she's very nonchalant about it. She's like,
Gotcha.
mom, it's super cheap from the in-laws. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care.
Fair
Unless
enough.
something great comes up. I have a follow-up. All the leads, I will have follow-up with them.
Yep.
But I mean, if somebody wants to go at it, feel free.
This is a pretty cool lead to take a look at, because it's got a good history, which is nice. And then the other thing that's pretty cool is that it has activity. It doesn't have an action plan, which is a shame, but that's okay. We can put her on a watch action plan. What do you think about that? Yeah.
But if you do that, it'll be under Montreal's lead.
It doesn't matter. That part doesn't really matter, because we just want her to respond. We want her to engage.
But if she responds, you won't see it.
Yeah, we will.
Well, you have to be in Montreal's lead to go see it. I won't see it.
No, but when you return to the lead, if and when you return to the lead, it'll say, hey, like this is the response or whatever.
Do me a favor. Put that in my watch calendar.
There you go. Yeah, I don't know why it's even hot. That's weird.
It was hot when you probably spoke with her.
Oh, when he originally spoke. Yeah.
She was looking. I told you she placed offers and everything. It was hot, but they lost a few offers, and she was like, "I'm just gonna stay here, whatever."
There you go. Boom. Signed to Benjamin Montreal by Logan Boyce. So I like this because it's a pretty full lead. You've got the timeline in the middle, you've got the action plan that's set up, you've got the website activity to go off of what she's looking for. But now you've got this wonderful section here that's not really filled out all that well. There's some things that we do, and other things that it doesn't really matter. So let's go through them.
So email is running on this one? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I just put it on. So keywords, we don't use that. Type of, don't use that either. Last activity, we don't use that either. The only thing that you really need to look at here is you might want to put their language of preference, right? If you want to. And then yeah, we'll get into that big time. Auto email, so either it's on or off, right? Which I think is super important. So I'm not sure if this person has an auto email from you.
No.
They don't?
No.
Cool. So when they do, turn it on. Right now, I'm just going to say it's off. Birthday, super important. Way easier to fill out the birthday situation when, exactly, when you've already written an offer and you've seen their ID. So then you don't need to have the weird conversations like, hey, when's your birthday? Are we friends like that? I don't know. But yeah, so check this out too. This is really, really cool. Web notes. So this is straight from the website. So this was when she was interested in 190 Chopin. Good afternoon. Can you please tell me when visits?
Why did I see that? I don't remember. I don't recall this person. This person has a $600,000 budget. They could have bought that house twice.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know, man.
Is it
Just want to know when the visits will begin. Is there already an offer on the house? Thank you, Kelly Fisher. So we know which one that she signed up on, which is really cool. So at the very least, we know which property she's interested in, and then, you know, what kind of subsection of property she's interested in.
You would see those notes when the lead comes in.
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely.
For that right away.
Of course.
Okay.
Absolutely. You know, if it's from this lead source, you won't have that information if it comes from Facebook or Google. You will only have this information if it comes from our website. The website tracks, okay, this person was on this property, this address, shoot all that information, and then we've got all the back-end stuff to be able to move that into Follow-Up Boss seamlessly. So,
Does there a website allow us to get a message when somebody's shown interest in our properties? That way
it's not a message, it'll just turn into a lead. It'll just turn into a lead right into the system, and then when a lead comes in, you'll get a message from me. I will forward you the lead, because right now it's set up where all the leads go to one email. And then if I see that it's for a property that, you know, is listed by you or Benji or whoever, that gets forwarded off to them.
it's almost like when they used to contact Centris and write
Correct.
interested in
Exactly. Yeah, because I actually get two. Usually they'll sign up both places. If they're really interested in the property, they'll sign up both. So, yeah, and we do get Centris signups too here, by the way. It's set up where if it's your listing, if that's the great thing about that, is it doesn't have to come to my email. It goes right into your Follow-Up Boss. It's already set up for that, which is super, super cool. So, now, let's say you have some time to kill and you want to smash some phone calls. You know, I just went over this with Benji. It's really, really cool. Let's say you are Severo. We're going to go back to Severo. Sorry, buddy. And we're going to go into his watch category. You know what? We're going to go to his archive category. He's got 1,429 people in archive, okay? But then what we're going to do is, we're going to do this. Check this out. We're going to add a column.
Just working with a broker already. Just screw it. That shit
We're going to add a couple of things here just because I want to see what the deal is. Source 2. So, check this out. So I've got last activity set up. No, I don't want to create it. Where's the column for when the activity took place? Nah, I don't want that. I guess we just do details. That's fine. Yeah, I think that's fine. We'll do it this way.
It would be last communication.
Hmm?
Would it be last communication?
Kind of, yeah. So like when the, exactly, we could do it this way. So check this out, yo, Sarah's such a G. Look at this. 2 hours ago, he called this person, this random person, That's so awesome. 19 hours ago, we called this Simon person. So maybe I sorted the wrong way. Maybe I should do it the other way. Reset the communication to old and new. So now let's say this person, look at this, neighborhood calls. These were created when, can I make this a little bit bigger? There you go. Created in 2018, 2021, blah, blah, blah. But let's say he just wants to call and check in on a bunch of these people, okay? So he can just do the entire page by clicking this, okay? So it's selected 26 people. Does he want to select all 1,429? Probably not. But he's going to select the 26 people, and maybe he wants to do one more page. So now I'm going to scroll down a little bit, open up some more, and do this again. Oops, 78 people. So now, let's say he's got 78 people. Is that cool? I'm going to call these 78 people. Very, very easy. You see the little telephone button up there. See that? So Follow Boss has an automatic, well, as big an automatic dialer as you can get. So you click calling list, and it's just going to power through these people one at a time. It's not going to go 3 at a time like Mojo, but it'll just power through all these leads. And when you click the next button, it'll automatically go to their page where you can start inputting notes. The second you press next, it'll hang up with the person and go to the next person. While the thing is ringing, you can explore all over Follow Boss, and as soon as the person is connected, it will open their lead page. The only thing, this is very, very important, is when you start it, you guys are used to the top, with the call information, right? We've all seen that. You cannot use the browser's back button. Very, very important. So let's say you're moving around all over Follow Boss, adding tasks, checking this, doing this, blah, blah, blah. You can't use the back button on your browser because it'll kill your call.
So it's 2 Follow Bosses open and 1.
You can have 2, but more importantly, just don't use the back button. If you want to go back, just like manually click to wherever back was. Like if you went tasks and you want to go back to people, you don't go tasks and then press the back button. You can't do that because it'll kill your call. So
but it rings off of the laptop.
Correct.
How do you get it to ring off of your phone?
At the bridge.
you have to do the cell bridge.
You gotta call them back and bridge it.
Well, you have to call the Follow Boss system to bridge it. Yeah, absolutely. The
Right,
easiest
but
thing
if
is do it from the laptop.
If you're doing it that way, where it's just automatic dialer,
Yep.
they're all gonna come up off the laptop.
But it's the same thing. It's the same thing. When you call from the laptop, you can do a cell bridge to call into the system to be able to do the dials. It's the same thing if you're dialing 1 person or 40 people.
So you do that first, and then you set up the call via the automatic dialer.
No, it's the same thing. When you go into a normal lead, if you're just doing it one at a time, like look.
Yeah.
So let's say I go one at a time. It's gonna ask me the same thing. So if I do this and I go call via cell bridge,
Right.
okay, it'll be the same thing when you start an entire call of 40 people.
So you have to do it each time.
No,
You just do it once.
correct. It's kind of like Mojo when you call into the system and then Mojo does all the dialing for you. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. But the easiest thing is to call from your desktop and get one of the headsets that we bought because the headsets work really well. Quality's good. What's that?
So they're not bad.
Yeah. Quality-wise, they're fine. They work well.
And when you're calling this way, you can hang up. It's just when you click next that it'll start
Exactly.
calling. Okay.
Yeah. You can hang up and have some time to put your notes and all that kind of stuff, which is really cool. But the second you press next on the dial, it'll just move on to the next person.
You can actually do a bunch of things that stays on there for you. Like you can go look at other leads. That blue bar will stay next and take you back to your list.
Yeah. Exactly. And it'll recenter you back to the next lead that it's calling, which is really, really cool. So yeah, that's one of the new features that came out, which I think is so freaking cool, so powerful, really, really awesome. I want you guys to see this because I think it's really important so that you guys know how we look at your guys' performance in Follow Boss. So there's a tab called Reporting. And we can, there's so much customization here, which is really, really cool, but we can do new leads versus calls, yeah, daily. We can do weekly too if we want bigger graphs, but not like daily, looks cooler, and then what we can do is we can see, and we don't want everybody, let's pick on Severo again. So we can see the graph of how many new leads are coming in and how many calls are made. So you can see exactly when the boss days are, right? That was a boss day of his. This was a boss day of his. Because usually when you have a boss day, let's say if you're given a Monday as an example, the leads will start coming in on Sunday, right? So we're seeing that in real time right now. So look, new leads 6, 8, and 6. So that's 20 leads on your boss day, give or take, right? So and then he started making his calls. He had calls 43 on this day. which is just freaking crazy. The day before his boss day, he was probably wanting to clean his shit up, right? Because he doesn't want to start a boss day with a messy boss day. So he made 117 calls this day. That's crazy, dude. That's absolutely crazy.
Part of that was probably the transmissions too.
Oh, it could have been, yeah, it could have been just a session like that for sure. Absolutely. And then every single day, 15, 20 calls, 2 calls, 10 calls, 13, 20, blah, blah, blah. And then your next boss day here, which was kind of a shitty one. 2, 5, 8, 9. Pretty kind of a shitty day. That's okay. Yeah. But yeah, so you can look at every single person's thing here. We can see what the performance is of all the different lead sources. We can see the performance of people's calls. This is how we typically do when we're looking at your numbers on a weekly basis. We can see, this is where we get all the information, guys. We're not pulling it out of our ass. We can see how many calls were made and how many were connected. The only thing is, I wish they would, clean this up a little bit, because I wish they'd just have a contact, like the second it connects to somebody and somebody says hello, I want them to register that as a contact, because that's how I prefer to track it. I don't think that it should be limited to just people that you've had 1 minute, because that's tough.
We get a lot of quick bells.
Yeah.
Like
Of course
right now,
you do.
look at my contacts are probably double what they show.
Yeah.
'Cause I get a lot of quick
Well,
bells.
let's check, shall we? Check it out. So
Probably
we're
because they don't want to count
boom,
voicemails.
connected, 84
Voicemail phones.
or 98. You could say. So 98. I'm sure you contacted more, dude.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's closer to 200.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it does have a couple of little hiccups here and there, but all in all, this system is pretty darn insane. It's pretty darn insane. And then the really cool thing, I wish they'd open up their API so I could use it in Gecko board, but you've got scores, which is pretty freaking cool. So we're gonna find a way to put this on the board, but I think this is so awesome. So it gives individuals points for everything that you do. So for instance, an appointment is worth, I thought it used to tell me. Yeah, appointment is worth 500 points. Contacts, like these are real connections, are worth 100 points. Outbound call attempts are worth 10 points. Text messages sent is worth 2 points. And email sent is worth 1 point.
What would it log appointments?
Sorry?
What would it log how many appointments you do?
What do you mean, what?
Listing appointments and
Or buyer's appointment?
or buyer's appointments. How does that track it?
So we went over that at the beginning. Let me show you. That's okay. Check it out. So let's say this person. You want to book an appointment? Right here. It's already synced with your Google account, right?
I'm sorry, I'm losing the cursor. Oh, there it is.
Right here. So it's already synced with your Google account. So the second you put go on an appointment, you're gonna get an email notification saying you've got this appointment set up, and they will get an email saying, hey, don't forget about your buyer's appointment or buyer's orientation or whatever you wanted to call it. You're gonna call it something, right? And they're gonna get that email saying you've been invited to this thing at this place, 15F Cartier with Benji or with John or
Is that the one I have to respond to? Yes, no, or maybe? Or does
they're going to get an invite, and yes, they will have to answer yes, no, maybe. Absolutely, which I think is super cool because it's like another layer of qualification. Because at the end of the day, especially when it comes to the buyer leads, we find that a lot of times it's like a 50-50 whether they show up. So this is another thing where if they haven't responded, you're going to call them. You're going to say, hey, you didn't say if you're coming. Are you coming or what? So it's just an additional layer of qualification, which I think is really cool. So yeah, back to reporting. This is I love this. I think this is so freaking cool. So yeah, absolutely, very very cool. Questions so far, guys? I realize I've been just like freaking yattering on, or whatever the word I'm thinking of is. Nattering. That's the word. Nattering on. Yeah, it's like a British expression, I think. Rambling, yeah, rambling's better. Yeah, that's better. Let's go with that. Let's pretend I said that. Can we rewind this? No? Okay. Darn it all. Questions on follow-up boss right now, guys. So the next thing that I want to go over is we're going to revisit the tag section with you guys because I think it's really important. One of the sections that I think is really, really underutilized is Sphere. Really underutilized. And we see it plainly here when Severo, who's objectively an amazing broker,
Yeah, I started.
only
doing
has
it.
6 people. Yeah, exactly. You started doing it, you stopped. So, listen, and this is coming from a real place because your splits are very different when it comes to Sphere leads. Okay? especially as you guys get better and better. You know, it doesn't make any sense for me to train you on Sphere from a money perspective. But as you know, that's not the kind of person I am. I'm here to make you guys as great realtors as possible. When it comes to your Sphere, there's nothing better than an active Sphere. There's nothing better. Sure, you can ice the cake with some follow loss leads and some for sale by owners here and there and all that kind of stuff. But the foundation of a great real estate business is either intense work ethic when it comes to lead generation or a healthy Sphere. It's one of the two. You have to decide which one is your cake, your batter. You know what I mean? So I'll give you an example. So let's go into this. I'm sorry, Severa, I'm picking on you all day. I'm really sorry. Who is this person?
She purchased in, what's it called? South Shore.
Okay. So she purchased already.
Yeah, it was a referral.
Okay, girlfriend referral. So that should be a note somewhere, that it was a referral from your girlfriend. That should be a note somewhere. The other thing is her current address should be here. So the address of her new condo should be there. The reason being is because Follow Us also supports creating mail tags. So imagine you got a Sphere and you want to send them all something in the mail. You can print that out with Follow Us. So easy.
Go back. Go back. What?
So I'm saying that because this is a Sphere lead and he purchased with this person, the address should be here. Because you can go into the admin section, select leads, and just go print shipping labels.
From here.
Yes, sir.
You can print shipping labels?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Let me show you. So let's go follow boss. Let's say these people had addresses, right?
Yeah.
Boom.
Mailing.
Label. Right there.
There's so much of this that we don't know that we're not using.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I wanted to do this training today.
And if they don't have it, it'll put their name like
Great question.
So I'm trying to tell you, have you not been reading that we just added a brand new
So
thing?
you got the chill.
All the time.
You go finalists and stuff like
Maybe like
once a
a,
year.
like a 10 now. No, they fought.
Thank you.
Definitely didn't.
Did it download the label or did it do? Oh, no address is down.
So if it doesn't have addresses, it does this,
I wonder.
which is great because I'm glad it didn't just create a label with the person's name and no address.
Grab a couple of.
You have?
For sale by owners. They all have.
There you go. Absolutely.
Oh, cool.
So let's go for sale by owners.
That's like this.
Boom.
Now we're all gonna do it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Ain't nobody doing it. Mailing label? Oh, but it would just say, for the name, it would just say the number, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, whatever. That's not the point of this exercise. The point of this exercise is to see, oh, what the hell?
But would you, is this like Christmas?
Is it not put in the
calendars,
address,
this
maybe?
Not that we
Maybe
mail
just
out?
like one person.
You would use this for like Christmas calendars and our.
Exactly, that's the idea. What?
What?
Oh, I know why. I know why, guys. I know why.
You still like
Oh, you're in my.
I'm in Severo's thing, that's why. Hold on, guys. Nobody freak out, okay?
Wait a minute.
We gotta maintain our composure. Okay, so we'll go to Montreal's Elite Real Estate Group here. So obviously, the appropriate. Yeah, there you go.
It only needs.
It needs to be full addresses. It's fine. So from now on, those will be added. But really, this is not designed for sale by owners. This is designed for your Sphere, right? Where you have full addresses with postal codes and stuff. But let's see what happens if I do this.
Have addresses to them?
Yeah, with the postal code.
Maybe that won't work.
Maybe.
Oh yeah, I have some neighborhood calls that would have. Oh no, I don't put the postal code.
No. So it's not going to do it unless you have the full address with postal code. So why the hell would it? Right? Why would it do half the job? So what did you say? Sorry.
Try Mojo.
Yeah, I didn't.
No, Mojo is manually added.
Yeah, I don't put the postal code.
Okay. So what did you say? Do you have any with?
No,
Okay. You do?
Yeah, but not all of them though.
Where in your Sphere?
In my Sphere, yeah.
Maybe Alex's,
Yo, that's what's up. John's got 62 people in his Sphere. That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's just good shit right there. So anyway, I haven't even been able to. No address there.
Mojo's got no address.
Danny Goku does that.
Oh,
Oh, there you go.
Danny has, yeah. Danny's.
Alright.
no postal code though.
So
No,
Danny
no,
does.
Danny does?
Yeah, if you go back to the other one, I made it, and I made one and it gave me
There we go.
7 of them added. So
Boom. Danny Goku. So let's say Danny. Dude, his name is Danny Goku. What a great name.
Right?
what's that great name? Include like an animated character.
Damn right he is.
Hell yeah.
I get
Wow.
Boom. So then when you go to print it, you'll have to, it even says, hey, you need Avery 5162 labels. So it knows what format to use to be able to slap these on envelopes, and it's super, super easy. And we'll buy that for you guys, it doesn't matter. We'll
These
make sure
could
we have
be,
it.
these could be mail merge, so we can,
What do you mean?
like, can you print this out into an Excel to be able to merge it to a Word file?
Yeah, of course.
Sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So let's say you do have a great sphere category, and great for new people would probably be around the number of about 20. So you have 20 people in your sphere category. You've got addresses for every single one of them. You can export that list into an Excel file, and then do what's called mail merge. So what that means is you have a Word file that's pulling from the Excel file. It takes you about 5 minutes to learn about this on Google. It's not as complicated as what I just said. It feels like the way I explained it was complicated. It's not that complicated. So it'll just say hi, comma, person's name, and it'll just know when it prints it to grab the names from the list that you have. Essentially, very, very easy stuff. So yeah, but yeah. So back to the sphere. This is really important, and you know, it's good that we're going to pick on John now because he's got a great section. But there's definitely something missing here. So to me, a really super good sphere is one that's categorized so you know where to spend the majority of your time. So maybe John already knows, which I'm assuming he does, but for those of you who are just building out your sphere, it's important for you guys to know the levels of it's straight from Brian Buffini. So you've got your A+ clients. Those guys are your raving fans. These are guys that will not shut up about you. They're so happy for what you did for them. Every time you speak to somebody, they're like, you gotta call John. He's the man. He got me this sweet deal in this place, and we love it. We got all this equity, and we use him again. He's so great. You know what? I'm just gonna send him your number right now. That's the raving fan, right? Those are your A+. These are guys you need to be reaching out to like literally not less than once every 2 weeks. Like just a call and check in and say, hey man, I'm just thinking about you, how you doing, kind of thing. Like bare minimum once a month, but shoot for once every 2 weeks. Those are your A+, because you shouldn't have too many of them. Like even John probably should only have like what, 2, 3-ish?
Yeah, give or take. 3.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it's not going to take up too much of his time, but he knows that if he spends a little bit, if he sprinkles a little time with these people, you know, to make sure that they know that he truly does care about them as a person, you know what I mean? It's going to be, he's going to get referrals, and that's great because they're feeling like they're helping his business, which they are. He's very happy about it. He's going to make sure that they're rewarded and that they feel appreciated. It's just a wonderful relationship to build. So those are your A+. Your A clients are people that would and will refer you business. They're not raving fans. They're not going to like stalk somebody for you. You know what I mean? They're not going to shout your name from the rooftops. But they're happy with what you did for them, or they support you. They could just be like a friend of yours, or a really good acquaintance, or whatever. And they'll pass your business cards around. They're going to refer you business, and they have before. So they're A clients. They deserve a lot of your time as well. Then you have the B clients, who are people who would refer you if asked. So what that means is you're having a conversation with them. Let's say, hey Connor, do you know real estate? Yeah, I know real estate. Great. Hey man, do you know anybody? Who do you know that's looking to buy or sell real estate in the next 30 days? And then he says, I don't know anybody. So, oh, no problem. Can I follow up with you in a couple of weeks? Because I'm sure in a couple of weeks you're going to talk to somebody. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
He says, yeah, no problem. So these are the guys that if you constantly remind them to do it, they will. They know how. It's just they need a little push occasionally, right? Then you have the C clients who would refer you. They haven't really. They would refer you if taught how. What that means is you have to tell them, okay, the procedure is I need their contact information, and I'll reach out to them. You know, so next time you're at a party and you're talking to somebody about real estate, get their phone number so I can give them a shout. You know, I want to work with people that you know. I want to work with people that you know because I like you so much. You know what I mean? And like we had such a good deal, or like we are such good friends. So I'm just assuming that if we're so close and we work so well together, it stands to reason I'm going to work really well with your friends, right? They say, yeah, great. So you need to teach them how to refer business. Then you have the D's. Can anyone tell me what D stands for? Not John, because he knows the answer.
Destructive.
Kind of, but very close. Like,
Dull.
No.
Dumb. No.
Sorry?
Dumpster.
No, man.
I mean,
You don't have to start with the letter D, guys.
I did say stand for, so, I mean, could be. It stands for delete. So these are people that, you know, they're taking energy away from you. You know, for the purposes of us being live, I'm not going to say what I probably would say if it wasn't live, but not every single sale and transaction goes perfectly. We know that. And sometimes some people, you know, play the blame game a little bit too much and don't take responsibility for their own actions, things like that. So I'm assuming everybody in this room does do that. They do take responsibility. The problem is if you take too much responsibility for people that take none, you end up just looking like the bad person. So there are situations where you're looking at a lead that you did do business with or they're in your sphere for whatever reason, and every time you look at it, you're like, it's that exact sound. And that just means you have to get rid of them. And it's not because they're not good people, I'm sure they're awesome people, but for purposes of being at work and being motivated every single day, you can't be looking at their little lead line and saying, oh, because that's just going to make you not want to call the other people. And they're the people who objectively love you, have referred you, will refer you, all that kind of stuff. You just don't want that kind of bad energy inside of your sphere. So what I'm proposing is using the tag section to see who are the best leads in your sphere. So who are the A+ clients? And for those of you who are just starting out, you shouldn't have any A+ clients because you haven't received a referral yet. So you don't know yet who they are. So it's okay. I would hover most of them around between A and C. Rarely will you have an A because you haven't got the referral yet, right? So you want to hover people between A and C, and then you're gonna find after your first 6 to 12 months of real estate, you're gonna see those people become A+ after you do sick work for them, right? You're gonna see that pop up. But the sphere is so darn important, guys, and it's just it's just becoming creative and figuring out, okay, what do I want to do? How do I want to build something out for these people that makes a ton of sense? So that's all I have for sphere. I know I'm running out of time, so I'm gonna go fast now. Go ahead.
Can for the tags, can you put like A+, B?
Totally.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's how you would categorize them.
Absolutely. Yeah. Exactly. If it's not already there, which I'm sure it is, but if it's not, you just create the new tag. It's fine. I don't mind if there's a million tags there. It doesn't bother me at all.
Can you search the tags? Yeah, can you mention to people not to erase the tags?
Oh yeah, never delete a tag, hey guys. Just
No.
that should be pretty self-explanatory. But just because you're not using a tag doesn't mean somebody else isn't. So never ever delete a tag ever.
Or the emails that you send, I think we can customize some of them, but always use the ones that you have as well, and not to edit that one.
Yeah, but you'd have to go into admin to do that. I don't think anybody's doing any editing of email templates.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be very complicated, and I wouldn't expect anybody to do that. So that's a good segue, though, into two things that I want to share with you guys. One of them is a revelation I came to with Benji because he had a wonderful, wonderful idea that unfortunately presented itself with some hiccups. So the wonderful idea was, why are we not using more video to engage leads? And he said, can the first text message that gets sent out to leads that come in, can that be a video? And the answer, unfortunately, is no. Maybe down the line, it might be added as a feature, but I can only imagine how expensive it would be because we don't pay for these numbers, right? So adding MMS features to all these different numbers might be very, very difficult. And God forbid it's like really choppy and pixelated and messed
Could
up.
it not be a link leading to like a YouTube video or
That was
something?
awesome. So what?
Would you click a link from a number you don't know is my only thing.
So here's the thing. I don't think it needs to be a link. So to Delano's point, that's exactly how we're going to do it. So we're going to host a day, probably Wednesday next week, I'm thinking, where everyone can come in, and I will share with you the script that I want you guys to use. Because it can't be super specific. You're not going to use the lead's name because it needs to be the same video for everybody, right? But it needs to be genuine and fun and all that kind of stuff. So what will happen is the video will be inserted in the first email of the action plan. And it has to be a selfie video because it has to come across super genuine and fun, right? So we're going to do that on Wednesday, and it's going to be added to everybody's individual nurture campaigns.
Oh dear Lord.
So for instance, now for a nurture campaign from Delano, the very first email that they get is going to be a video from you saying, hey, what's up? Just wanted to put a face to a name. Great speaking to you today, blah, 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 whatever. The script will be written by next week. Don't worry about it. So that they humanize you. This is number one. You're no longer a robot calling them about real estate. You're now a human being, you know, who they can identify with when you call them. So when I was talking to Benji about this, I was telling him about my experience when I was getting sold stuff by Grant Cardone. So these guys are crazy, and I don't expect you guys to be as insane as these people, because they're getting the whip cracked on them by Grant Cardone every day. This guy's a monster, okay? So, but I got off the phone with this guy. He was just a sales guy, and I swear to you, within 5 minutes, I got a video of him saying, "Hey, Logan," he used my name, so he did it right then and there. He said, "Hey, Logan, what's up, man? Just wanted to say we're so excited maybe have you a part of Grant Cardone's Cardone You, man. Everybody in the office is super psyched." He got everybody in the office to like give me a round of applause. I was like, what is happening right now? It blew my mind. So, and it wasn't the round of applause that got me going, it was the fact that this guy, immediately after getting off the phone with me, he realized I was probably a hot lead. He probably doesn't do this for every lead. I can't imagine he has the time for it. But, you know, he took the time to do that, which was absolutely insane to me. So I wanted to incorporate that, but I want to still make it easy for you guys. So, I mean, by all means, if you guys have the time and you want to do that, you can. And it's a wonderful, wonderful strategy if you have a good conversation with somebody over the phone, depending on what level of energy you have. But you guys will now have the option, once you speak to a lead, you can either put them on the basic nurture campaign, the nurture campaign where their auto email is on. So if you did actually get into specifics with them, you can put them on nurture auto email on, or you will have nurture Delano George. So what that means is it's going to be a nurture campaign that starts with, like right away, within probably 30 minutes, they'll get an email from you with an embedded video saying, "Hey, what's up, great talking to you, just want to put a face to a name, show you around the office a little bit, whatever you want to do." But yeah, we'll have a nice script written out for you guys by that time. It should increase the closing rate of these leads.
No.
Yeah.
Just to put a face to a name.
Exactly.
It's great. Yeah, just want to put a face to a name.
Well, here's the thing. It's like in this day and age with all the COVID restrictions and stuff that we've gone through over the last little while, I think people are more used to the idea of meeting somebody over a screen. So then it goes back to what we know to be 100% accurate, which is people are likely, 75% of the time, they will work with the first realtor they meet. So then it just becomes, will they qualify this as a meeting? Did I meet this agent? Well, maybe. You know?
Is the video from, like, is it embedded from YouTube? How's it embedded?
Yeah, it'll be embedded from probably YouTube no, it'll be embedded directly from Follow Boss.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
you should upload the video.
Exactly, it uploads directly to Follow Boss's
Oh,
server,
man.
and Follow Boss inserts it in the.
Because it would have been like so obvious if it was like YouTube, 148 views.
No,
and they're like,
it's embedded from Follow Boss. Great question though.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. So the next thing, again, just to continue to touch on Sphere a little bit, guys, is so check this out, guys. So what I want from you guys is to be able to build out your own action plans for your own leads.
You guys making videos already?
We're just coming up.
Okay, but you guys need to check this out. So if you guys want to build out your own action plan, so what is an action plan? Give me an example of an action plan we just talked about.
Watch.
Make sure, watch is an action plan, nurture qualifies an action plan. So what that is an action plan is a series of either tasks being set, emails being sent, and it can start with an initial text message. Okay? But what I want for you guys is when you're looking at your Sphere business, I want you guys to be able to build your own action plan for your specific Sphere, because I don't have the same language as Susie, and Susie doesn't have the same language as Connor, and Connor doesn't have the same language as Delano, who doesn't have the same language as Severo. Everybody writes differently and speaks differently. So for the normal internet leads of putting them on the qualify, nurture, and watch campaigns, it makes sense that we all speak the same way because they're not even technically clients yet. We haven't met them in person. If we did meet them in person, they'd be a hot lead, right? So if they're your Sphere, it becomes very important to speak in the way that you would speak and write the way that you would write. And that you probably want an email to go out to these people once a month, I would say, as like a reminder of, hey, I'm in real estate. So I want to show you guys that you can do that. It's very, very easy. You need to find stuff you want to talk about. That's number one. Just stuff you want to talk about. And you can insert images here and there. It's not going to be super pretty like a MailChimp thing, but it's something. And they'll always be reminded of who you are. Okay? So the first thing you need to do is you need email templates, because in order to build the action plan, you have to have email templates first, okay? So when we go into all email templates, we've got all of these different templates. You can't use any of these because they don't apply to your sphere and they won't be in your language, okay? So don't use any of these. But I do want to show you kind of what it looks like, okay? So hi, contact, first name. That's a merge field, okay? We talked about mail merge, okay? So merge field means you can grab just their first name, their full name, whatever you want. Like here, we'll pull up some more examples of merge fields, okay? Look, contact first name, contact email, contact last name, contact and relationship first name, contact city, state, country, zip code, company name, agent's name. This is all of your information. So when you sign off, you can just put your agent's signature, but if there's things that you want to do, like, you know, put your phone number inside the email or whatever, you can absolutely do that. And so this is where we insert a video, insert photos, insert a link, whatever. There's a million things you can do, but so you build out the email templates, then when you're done that, you go into action plans and you start an action plan. And you can name it whatever the heck you want. You can call it Madison 123, you can call it Susie 345, whatever you want. And then you just create the different steps. It could be email, wait 5 days, create a task. Could be email 30 days after that. 5 days later, create a task to call them. You know what I mean? This is a free system for you guys to express yourself and what you think your clients would want.
So it creates a task for you automatically.
It can, sure, absolutely. Look, email. So what do we want? We want to be able to send an email. That's the first thing. Okay. So boom, send an email. Email template. Select the one you just created. Okay. From agent assigned to the contact. Obviously, add another step. Okay. How many days after the last step? 7 days after the last step. Create task. Task name. Call the person. Okay? Task type is a follow-up, assigned to the agent assigned to the contact. Boom. Then, days after the last step. Come on, buddy, you can do it. Come on, Bluetooth. There we go. 30 days after that one, we do another email, blah, blah, blah. You see how it's all customizable, right? But this is important for you guys to do for your sphere. And that's it. If you want help with this, guys, it's not that complicated. Bring your laptop into my office. I will walk you through it. It's very, very easy. But I want you guys to know that all of these tools are available to you, and you know we're working hard to make sure we're on top of Follow Up Boss in terms of making sure that we implement as many of the features as possible. That's why we implemented the call recording. That's why we're going to implement the video now as well, which is really cool because they didn't allow embedding videos for a long time. So very, very cool stuff. Questions? Man, there's no way I'm that thorough. There's no way I'm that thorough that you guys don't have questions. Why isn't this following me?
Can you kind of like BCC people on your sphere for their touches?
I don't understand the question.
So
You want to BCC yourself?
No, just like add a bunch of contacts. It's the same email, but you just add all the contacts.
No, you don't want to do that.
You want to individualize them?
Of course, absolutely.
What if similar clients are getting?
You can mass.
Now, John might send you this is what's happening in real estate nowadays.
Sure.
So you pick 5 people that you want to continuously make sure that they receive this information. They're going to be there. I don't know how much customizing you need to do for that, but would that not be better for time?
So let me understand what you're asking.
So if
So
I'm
you're
sending
saying
information
you want to
client,
send only to these 5 people this
yes,
slew of emails.
regular real estate information.
Yeah, that would be your
mortgage
sphere.
rates and whatever.
That would be your sphere.
I don't know. My whole sphere is interested in that stuff. Some of them are, some of them are not.
So I would just create the action plan, assign it to every single person in your sphere, and then the people that don't want it, go to them individually and just stop the action plan.
Okay. Oh,
You know? Or have an action plan of like, you know, call it the land. Not necessarily. You can set it up to send 2 days afterwards, and you have 2 days to cancel it. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Is there a way to make the action plan linear for all parties? So basically, like it starts on January 1st.
No,
and
We talked about that. Very frustrating. I
because
know.
then you could just plan them for the future.
Very frustrating. I know. Yeah, you can't do it. You can't like set it up based on Christmas and all that kind of stuff. There is kind of a way around that, kind of, but it's very complicated and weird.
Yeah, it's like the birthday thing. You have to set
Exactly.
okay.
So like I could do that. I could go into all the leads and like change, like
What would
create a
have to
field, call it Christmas.
But then every time a lead comes in, it automatically plugs in Christmas. So that way it's already automatically there, and then the thing just figures, oh, on Christmas, send.
Yeah, I don't even know if I can have it so that when a lead comes in, let's say from the internet, I don't even think I can have it add the date to it. That's why.
It's a custom lead though. It's such a big thing. Like
They're gonna change it, guys. This is just a matter of time.
They have to have something for me.
100%. I know, it's crazy.
Linear automation like that would be sweet.
Yeah.
You need to plan it.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you can still go into your leads, go to all leads, select all, click
And then
email,
send email.
and then grab an email template, you know what I mean? And it can still greet them individually.
Yeah.
It can say, hey, contact first name, wanted to wish you a very Merry Christmas this year, or whatever you're celebrating, or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, you can still do that.
Okay.
But it just requires a couple extra steps. So I'm with you. They likely will release that.
Cool.
Cool, guys. So I hope I notched up your numbers in terms of your understanding of the system, or maybe I notched them down because you realize that you didn't know as much as you thought in the first place.
Definitely not.
Yeah, I think I'm down.
More down.
Well, now I'm up, but like from what I thought I was, I'm down.
Awesome. Okay, well that's fine.